Okay. Which brings me to feeling good. So our last presenter is Susan Hoye. She studied clowning for years in Amsterdam, Great Britain, and France, and she's traveled with Patch Adam Group to Russia, worked in over 200 memory care facilities in 5 countries, and so became an expert in connecting heart to heart with people with Alzheimer's through the way of the clown. Today, she's going to share that, the way of the clown. Suzanna.
Thank you. Hi. What do you do after a talk like that, huh? Hi. Anyway, have you ever been asked to find a horse in someone's living room? A horse? No, or to help a 58-year-old woman deliver her triplets? No? Or to dance with a complete stranger that claims to be your father? Welcome to my world. I work as a clown with people with dementia. And she takes people to places. I am taken to places by people, because they cannot go anywhere, but they take me places. Like to find that horse. And if there is a line of work that requires a heart connection, it's that line of work. Because although, and I'm going to call them my people, I'm not going to talk about people with dementia, I'm calling them my people now. Although my people, their cognitive abilities will diminish, other parts or other skills will grow, like the ability to read energy. And I think this is why, because since reasoning and censoring goes kind of out of the window, ego kind of diminishes, and what's left is an awareness of presence. And because of that, and because of the fact that also there are no filters left anymore, they become very vulnerable. And it requires a really sensitive approach, otherwise they will retreat into their own world and be seemingly unreachable. So now the question is, why is the clown such a good tool to connect with people with Alzheimer's or dementia, my people? Well, first I want to tell you what the clown did for me. Because I once was lost. No, I once was that person that was in my own world because I didn't felt like I was seen, or I didn't feel appreciated, I didn't feel loved. You know, so I'm going to tell you my story. I grew up in the Netherlands in a very normal family. I'm number 7 of 12. Yeah. And in a very fundamental Christian family. And all of us, we were all very welcome. That I know. We were all really, really wanted. All 12 of us. And they would have welcomed the other 12 too if that was going to happen, but that didn't happen. But I was brought up to believe that I could not trust myself in any way, shape, or form. Because you're born in sin, and your heart is basically not to be trusted. Don't trust your feelings, don't trust your heart. Trust the Lord, and you'll be fine. Okay. So, and being one of 12 also was like, they weren't really enthusiastic about us sharing our feelings with each other or fighting with each other, because if you have 12 kids doing this, so we were all kind of marching in the beat of the drum, and the only way we were able to really connect with each other, for as far as that was real, was in a joking way. So we were always goofing around with each other, because that was okay, because then there was laughter in the house and no bickering. So, you know, still, if my brothers and sisters get together, oh my goodness, they are all stand-up comedians, I'm telling you. So, but it's not real. It wasn't real. It was, for me, it was a survival skill. And so, fast forward, I got married when I was 20, had 3 kids before I was 24. When my kids were old enough to not having to come home in between school times, you know, I was like, okay, now what am I going to do for myself? I want to, you know, what am I going to do when they're out of the house? I need to do something. Not that I never did nothing. I was very active in church, obviously, very much music, dance, drama, theater, and taking care of abused girls, basically. I took them in my house and I was pampering them and just kind of babying them into their transformation. I had no idea why I was good at that, because I was not aware of what had happened to me and what was going on in my life. Anyway, so I decided I was going to study psychology, and I signed up and I was accepted, and I was going to do that. I was going to help people because I was good at that. And I got cold feet. I was like, at some point, I've been helping other people so much. I really want to do it I want to still help people, but in a more playful way. And then one day I'm watching TV, and sure enough, these clowns, they jump through the halls of a hospital, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to work as a clown in hospitals with children. So I called the organization. It's a huge organization in the Netherlands. I called them. I said, I want to become a clinic clown. That's what they're called. Well, you have to go to clown school. Okay, where do I find a clown school? In Amsterdam. So I called the clown school. Well, you have to audition. Okay. So I auditioned, and I got in, and I had my first year of clown school. And little did I know, because I thought I could do that, you know. That's how we got through life. But this is a whole different deal. This was not acting. You would think, you know, clowning, you just act as a funny person, but that's totally not the case. When you're an actor, you put on a coat of the person that you want to, you know, act out. But when you're clowning, you take off the coat of your conditioned behavior and your persona that you know, present yourself with in the world. Was I not prepared for that? Because I had no idea what was underneath that. I thought that was me. And I'm telling you, when I got into that space where they told me, okay, now think, go inside. We did all your exercises. We did the whole thing, which is very new to me, because that was kind of new agey, you know. Anyway, we did that yoga, but so, okay, now feel in yourself. How does your clown walk? What does your clown feel? What is your clown's inner gesture? You know, how do you approach the world? And I just started crying. I cried for days. There was a week course at some point that I did with one of my clown colleague friends, and I cried for days. I couldn't find me anymore. And I was scared, because I had built this whole mechanism of how I could, you know, keep myself standing in this world, and all of a sudden they're telling me not to do that anymore, and it was really, really scary to me. But I did it. And in that same period, I got my hands on an invitation from Patch Adams, who was visiting Holland to open a hospital and to come to Russia to go clown with orphans and elderly people and with people in hospitals and just basically anywhere on the Red Square. And everything in me said, yes, I want to do that. So I did. We had to travel as clowns, so here I went in my clown costume to the airport, meeting I was so lucky, I got to meet 4 other Dutch clowns that I already knew, so we traveled together to Russia, and man, did we have fun. So, so that trip is, I cannot, if I start talking about that, we run out of time in no time. So, but it was an unbelievable, life-changing event. And I was simply not the same anymore. My clown started to blossom. I started to become so comfortable with that nose on. With that nose on, I am fearless. I do whatever comes to my mind. Which, you know, I was raised always, you know, you think something and then you think like, I better not do that. You know, so, but all of a sudden I had this freedom and I never wanted to go back anymore from that freedom. But I did go back, and there was my husband back then, and he didn't like the transformation very much. And I guess that was basically the end of our relationship, although the end of that relationship started years before that, but that's not the issue today. So it was a totally life-changing event. Also, I met my darling Jeff there. He was an American clown that was invited by Patch Adams. That is a whole different story. That's the next speaker, another Saturday. So what I did in Russia is we went to an elderly home. And I got to play with people with Alzheimer's. And I didn't speak a word of Russian, you know, a little bit. You know, I pick up languages easy. But so I was shocked by the fact that I was able to connect so incredibly well by the way of the clown with these people. And I was like, okay, that's what we need. That's what we need in the Netherlands. There are so many people in elderly homes, and this is such a perfect tool. And this is why a clown says yes to whatever comes his or her way. A clown steps into the open space and welcomes whatever comes. And then there is this, you know, this connection. You're just being honest about what happens in the moment. And with people, with my people, that's all they are. They are in the moment. Now they might relive a memory from the past, but in the moment that they relive that, it's very, very real to them. That's really what's happening in that moment. That's why I go and look for that horse. You know, I first ask them, well, is it a white horse or a black? What's because you know I might find another horse. It's not theirs. So I ask them, what you know. So I take the question serious, and I go and look for that horse. And the woman seriously that was in labor pains. Well, I've been a doula for a while as well. I've been delivering babies, so I was instantly, oh, I can do that. So did all the breathing exercises with her, and I comforted her, and then I said, I'm going to get a nurse now, okay? And then I go outside and I ask a nurse, could you go over to that lady and give her some attention? And there's so many examples I could give you of where people are asking me things that if you would literally look at it, you're like, oh, come on. I'm not your daughter. No, I'm not going to dance with you. Why? In that moment, I am their daughter. They're happy to see me. So guess what? I'm going to be dancing with you, and we'll have this amazing moment together. You're present. You're present with that other person, no matter where they are. So that's what we trained with the organization that we started when I came back from Russia. We started a foundation, and we started working in elderly homes. And it was just an incredible success. And I think, you know, sometimes we got the comments from people, but after 10 minutes they have forgotten that you were there. And I would say, so? After 10 minutes they've forgotten they've eaten, but you're not going to stop feeding them, do you? You know, I don't remember I ate. Well, and playfulness is, for me growing up, it was a survival, but they have done research, and playfulness is actually really I'm losing the word. It's a primary need for a person, like eating and sleeping. There is playing. You know, the research they did with the polar bears and the wolves, that the polar bears were hungry, but the wolves invited them to play, and they started playing instead of eating them. And so the playfulness is a very important thing, and I think we, growing up, you kind of, you can lose that. But you can also just step into it again, because it's right there. I mean, we all have that playful, innocent part in us that I call spirit. And so you say you have the best job in the world? I think I have the best job in the world. And there was a time I sometimes doubt, you know, is this what I need to be doing, you know? And I'm in my car, I'm on my way to Davis and to go clowning, and you know, sometimes the other part, the not playful part of me is like, oh, I really need some sign that this is what I need to be doing, you know. And so, well, nose on, ukulele, la la la, you know, through the hallway. And I stop into this one room, and I think it was a hospice room. These two ladies lay almost like this in bed. And I come into her field of where she could see me, and she's like, "You're perfect." And I was like, "Oh." So I do a little thing with her, and the woman next to her in bed, she is, I hadn't never heard her speak a word that I could actually understand, so there was a lot of gibberish going on there, and sometimes screaming and very restless. But so I go over to her bed, and I take one of her hands. I always touch people. They really, really need deliberate touch, you know, a conscious touching, not just I'm going to wash you today, hup, you're done. And so that's so important. So I take her hand, and I just pair my breathing with her breathing. It's what I do when people are far away or just asleep, and it always changes the energy. Sometimes there's this big breath, and then you know something has shifted. And so I take her hand, and all of a sudden she looks me straight in the eye, and there's this recognition, and she says, "Oh, it's God." And I was just, okay. I don't think after that I ever doubted, because I may doubt myself. I never doubt spirit, because it always happens. It always happens if I can get out of the way and step in there with the intention of just being present, whether it's a touch, a smile, a song, a tear. There's a lot of crying. People need a lot of comfort, or whatever it takes. If I can get out of the way and just look into that person's eyes, like we did in the exercise just now, and see spirit there, then that happens. And it was just like, essence flowing into essence. It's like water pouring into water. There was nothing else anymore at that point. And that is something over the years I really have learned to trust my first impulse. And sometimes they are weird, I'm telling you. So we're going into this room, and there's this gentleman, and he's laying in a bed, and he has very short hair, and I just couldn't help myself. I wanted to. And I hear my colleagues behind me, because that's kind of a direct approach to touch someone just like that, you know? Hey, you know. Anyway, but I did it, and I was like, oh well, I will hear it later. And later we did always some debriefing with staff, because we would never get any information of any of the patients. Thank God we don't, because I don't want to know it. No, I don't want to know it, because then you can really be open. If you don't know the other person's story, you cannot have any judgment, you cannot have any reservations. So don't tell me that that gentleman is very aggressive. I don't want to know, because he will know that I know. And guess what? So later they said, oh my gosh, he loves to be stroked on the head. So, and I'm like, thank you. Oh, this other gentleman in a wheelchair, and he was, and I can keep going there. So RJ just yelled when it's, yeah. He's sitting in the wheelchair, and we're trying to do whatever to get his attention, to get some response from him. And so some point we're on our knees, and we're humming a song, and we're stroking his legs, and nothing, we thought. But we stayed with it, and then when it was time to go, we left, and later they said, oh my goodness, that gentleman, he doesn't let anyone within like this of his personal space, or you will really get it. So the fact that he let you guys just sit there and do what you did, wow, you know. And so those are moments that really gave me the trust that just follow your first impulse, because that's spirit telling you what to do. And if you come in with all the blah blah blah, no, you cannot do no. But what if they? No, go do it. And so that's the way of the clown. Go with your first impulse. You say yes. You step into the open space, and whatever happens, you go with the flow, and it is the best job. So. If you ever, and I think all of us, at some point, you either know someone who has it, I mean, it's there. I don't know where this is going, and I do know that we need a lot of clowns, with or without nose. But yeah, no, when I'm walking around in those hallways and sometimes see how staff is treating people, and I know they're busy and they're understaffed, and I get all that, but it's an intention. It's an intention. You know, if you know that when you step into a room, you change the energy in the room. If you're aware of that, then you're gonna step into a room way, way different than just barging into someone's space and saying, we're gonna do this with you, or we're gonna do that with you. I knock on the door. Staff members are like, why are you knocking on the door? Just go inside. I'm like, I knock on the door, maybe they don't hear me, but I'm asking for permission to come in. You know, they live there. And so I'm still knocking on the door. And then when I feel that I get energetically the permission, I go in. And I think that's, thank you. Thank you, Mr. RJ.
Anyone have a lovely comment for Suzanna?
Well, if I ever get to that stage, will you come visit me?
Oh, yeah. I don't ever want to see you there, but I will.
So does anybody ever freak out when you come in?
Oh, you have no idea. No. I mean, most of the time, not the people that are actually, in the beds or the staff members. No, believe me, there is so much clown phobia in this country. Oh my goodness. Scary movies, clowns that are just barging into your personal space and being rude, and gosh, I don't like those clowns. So no, I only have a red nose, a funny hat, and some colorful clothes. No makeup, not the big, because you hide yourself behind that, and you scare people off. They're already confused as they are. So if you're gonna be this, so yeah, people do freak out. But and if I see someone, and most of the time you're first, you can see, and then I will never ever, cross that boundary. I will be playful over here, and I know they're watching, and then I get them, and then I just sneak over to them, and then I get to play with them. That's a lot of times. They need to know you're safe. They need to know you're safe. Otherwise, forget about it. So then I'm gonna tell someone else, Anyway, yeah.
Here we go, Bonnie.
Thank you so much. I want to take the class. I want to take the class. I'm serious. That whole idea of just stepping into presence. We have diving into presence, stepping into presence, stepping into the authenticity. Just, oh my God. I mean, I had a terrible fear of clowns. I got slapped by a clown at 7.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Let me finish. You just broke apart that whole thing.
Good.
I had no idea that clown school meant taking off your conditioning.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know either. It saved me. It saved my life, I'm telling you.
I really got that. I think it would save
Really
many
did.
lives, actually.
Yeah.
So I'm serious about doing a workshop.
Yes. Where does them?
How many
There it
would
is.
come to this workshop?
Let's do it here.
Anybody?
You already do it?
I have done, there are several people in this room that have done workshops with me, and yeah.
Oh, really? I would like to. And then how do you?
Yeah, I would love to give a workshop again. I mean,
Suzanna, you're amazing. Let's give her